Thank you. Nanaimo-North Cowichan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to address the House on this very important issue and reflect on what our government has achieved over these years. In fact, reconciliation is the North Star of this government, and this month of Indigenous history allows us to pay special attention to that. The government's actions have been symbolic with the adoption of UN Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, as well as concrete with steps like $3 billion in gaming revenue being shared. The first time a provincial government has done that in British Columbia. The care of the children of First Nations being put back where it belongs with those nations. Language revitalization programs on reserve housing, the first government ever to do that, and a number of other concrete steps that have been taken. But on the subject of language revitalization, I'd like to say a few words to the members about two people who I know very well. One of them is on the executive of my riding association. His mother is a person, an elder from Cooper Island, Penelipit Nation, who I met as a school trustee in 2003-2004 school year when she was translating Robert Munch stories into Hulkaminam, and then putting that to a computer program where students could use a mouse to click on a word in English. That word would be translated to Hulkaminam with an elder's voice pronouncing that for them. So that was a very a wonderful project and a wonderful way to meet Florence James, an elder with great wisdom and a great generosity. And I later met her son, Rocky James, who's now a member of our constituency executive. As I said, he's a Two-Spirit young man and worked for years on the downtown east side with Two-Spirit youth. So in this month of Pride and this month of Indigenous history, as a bisexual man, I'd like to say a few more words about the notion of Two-Spirit people and what that means. One of the important parts of reconciliation is that it be true and it inculcate the various institutions of our province. And it's clear that that has happened with BC Hydro when I opened their BC Hydro Connected newsletter this month and saw a special feature on Two-Spirit people. And it went on to define Two-Spirit and noted that the phrase Two-Spirit was first used at the Winnipeg 1990 Intertribal Native American Conference. It's the first Native gay and lesbian conference of its type. And it's interesting, and it's a difficult term to describe because it is not just simply about gender or sexuality. It's about more than that. It was described very, very well as, quote, walking carefully between the worlds and between the genders. So it is interesting for us to consider this particular lens as we view First Nations history and in the month of Pride, how so many First Nations Indigenous people have been discriminated against in so many different ways, but those who are two-spirited in additional ways as well. And it's with thoughts of them and their struggle that I would like to bring the House's attention to and honor them for their struggle and assure them that all of us struggle with these aspects of our lives and our identity. And it's important that we remember during Indigenous History Month that Two-Spirit people have played an important role within their cultures and continue to play an important role with reconciliation, with Rocky James and others working with the Minister of Indigenous Reconciliation Relations is to ensure that Two-Spirit voice is at the table of reconciliation in the spirit of nothing about us without us. So with that, I honor Two-Spirit people in the month of Indigenous history and Pride. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.